Hi, my name is Rihanna Jones. I'm unsigned, non-union, and I'm based in Brooklyn. The silliest thing I've ever done on a date, I'm the epitome of a hopeless romantic, and I'm all about creating really grandiose, memorable fairy tale adventures. And so this was someone that I met on OkCupid about 5 years ago, and I planned this dinner picnic in a park in Harlem, right in front of a waterfall, on a picnic table with wine and grapes and candles and the whole 9 yards. And we got super into each other to the point that we were like borderline fucking on this picnic bench. And the cops came around and they were like, just so you know, you got to wrap it up because it's getting late. And then we just again got caught in the moment. And they came back around, and at this point the park had closed, and they wrote us up and gave us summons for being out in the park after dark. And because I completely forgot about this, a couple months later when I jumped a turnstile, I got arrested because there was a warrant out for my arrest for this being out late in the park situation that I wasn't aware of. And so I ended up spending a day in jail because of this date. Never saw the guy again, never told him that, but I thought that was quite a story. And the most adventurous is someone that I was dating for a couple months, and he ended up being transferred to Shanghai, and I was so deeply in love and at the moment that I put my job on hold and I went out to go join him. And about a week in, we got in a huge fight and broke up. And I ended up eat, pray, loving my way through Asia solo, which was an amazing trip, all thanks to him. And I find I'm such an open book, and I'm incredibly I'm super enthusiastic about talking about sexuality and desire and just human connectivity. And it hasn't always been this way because I was a really late bloomer. I didn't lose my virginity until my early 20s. And so when I was growing up in high school, I always felt really left out of conversations, and I felt really guilty and kind of embarrassed about not being able to participate when everyone was talking about that. And so I think when I finally bloomed and popped my cherry and all that, I was just so excited about being able to like connect on that deeper level with my friends. And I think one of the biggest issues in America is that we're so body conscious, so sex conscious, and it's just not something that we're comfortable with talking about. We're so kind of Puritan in a way. And so I think the more dialogue and the more conversation that we open up about sex and our sexuality and our desire, especially for women and for homosexuals and all these kind of marginalized groups who don't usually get the platform to talk about their sexual experiences, I think it's incredibly important that we open those conversations so that everyone can just feel comfortable being their own sex goddesses. And how important is sex to me? Sex is crucial for me when I'm interested in someone, because I've always been someone who's a bit more sensual than sexual, whereas sex for me is about connecting to someone, not only physically, but kind of intimately and intellectually. And I've never been like a fuck buddy, one night stand kind of girl. If I really only open myself up, literally, to someone who I'd like to start something with. And so in a sense that's been kind of difficult, because if I'm interested in someone, I kind of have to gauge whether or not they just want to get in my pants or if they want to get in my head. And so especially in New York, when everyone just is on like a fuck by the minute kind of tour of the city, it feels like it can be a bit challenging, because I think I've been single for 5 years for that reason, because I'm always a bit more cautious about giving up my cookies. But there are also a lot of fuckboys out there, and I'm just not here for it. So, but on that note, when I am with someone, it's like a 3 times a day kind of situation. I'm very physical, very passionate, very affectionate. And even if it's not till like full-blown orgasm, just that morning and evening like physical connection of being inside someone is so passionate and special and magical. And I think it's really something that just, it starts my day off right, you know? That transference of energy that is so particular to sex and to two humans who just want to connect in that way so deeply and so profoundly and passionately. And I love that. And I haven't really experienced low sexual desire, but as I was saying before, there'll be plenty of long spans of time where I'm not sexually active just because I'm not someone who, like, gets horny, needs to fuck the next thing that I see walking by. Whereas that seems to be the case for a lot of guys that I'm always fending off. But I guess it's affected my intimate relationships for the lack of, because I approach, I guess I kind of like see men through this lens of like, is he a fuckboy or is he interested in more than just what I present? Because a lot of guys, they look at me and they just see hips and lips and eyes, and I'm a very sensual dancer, and I just kind of radiate this like sensual magnetism. And I play with it. I love flirting, and I'm very teasy and that whole femme fatale thing, and I get it. But, you know, I think so many people, they just don't want to, the fear and the vulnerability of connecting to someone, and also just being open about your sexual needs and your preferences and what is best for you. People can be very selfish in that sense, and so it's affected my intimate relationships. When I'm with someone, I'm always down. So in that case, it hasn't. But I haven't had a lot of intimate relationships because my focus is on the relationship and not just like come and fuck me boys kind of thing. And my advice to give someone who's struggling, I feel like sex and our sexuality is so inextricably linked to our self-confidence and the way that we feel about ourselves. And so if we walk out the door and just exude that big dick energy, as they say, and you're feeling yourself and you feel confident and you feel sexy in the skin that you're in, then you radiate that. And I think you feel worthy of your sexuality and you feel worthy of wanting to be wanted and wanting someone else. Whereas if you don't see yourself at a really high platform, then why would somebody else? And so I think if you're struggling with your experiences, you know, unless it's related to something traumatic that happened in your past, I think it's really just about connecting to yourself, both physically, but also mentally, and just like getting on that place of like, yeah, I'm hot shit. And being really comfortable with talking about your sexuality. And, you know, especially for women and the homosexual community and so many marginalized voices who haven't been able to really share their stories and their sexual needs, like, this is our time. This is our time to not only shine, but just to speak up and be all our sexual glory and just really command it and own it and be unapologetic about it. Thanks so much.